An agreement has been reached between Likud and two of the political parties on the right. The formation of a right-wing government here in Israel finally seems to be moving forward. Hopefully, we'll see something happen within the next week. The Palestinians apparently have a bone to pick with Qatar for hosting the World Cup in their country and not supporting the Palestinian cause here in Israel. Fatah, who is the political party for the PA, commemorated the death of Yassar Arafat in an event where they revealed their true intentions for Jerusalem. I'm Yassar, and this is the Israel Guys. Hello and welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda that you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Welcome back to the show, guys. Great to have you here again. First off, make sure you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Also subscribe if you're not subscribed and you enjoy watching the show. Share it with others who you think may enjoy watching this show and learning more about what's happening on the ground here in Israel, the true facts on what is happening here in Israel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the Israel Guys. We're releasing 3 shows a week on what is happening here in Israel, and also we're putting out mini-series, documentaries, things like that on different topics here in Israel. Also, comment below if you have something you want us to talk about or you want us to cover a topic here in Israel you've always wondered about, or maybe something that's happening in the news and you haven't heard it somewhere any of the other news outlets around the area. Shoot that down in the comments below and we'll take a look at it. Maybe we can cover it in a future show or episode. Subscribing would be really amazing because we're almost at 60,000 subscribers. Thanks to all of you. And I know there's some of you that are watching right now and are not subscribed. So we would really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button. Help us get us up there in number of subscribers. All right, the formation of a government in Israel seems to be moving forward. We've seen some progress this last week. On Friday, an agreement was reached between Likud, which is Netanyahu's party, and Otzma Yehudit, which is Itamar Ben Gvir's party. They signed an agreement last Friday, just this Friday, I guess, several days ago, that they will join Netanyahu's government on, and basically they negotiated with Netanyahu on what they wanted to join his government, and they signed the agreement there. So that's in place, and then Netanyahu is working with the other parties to sign agreements with them and negotiate which positions, ministerial positions in the government they want. And there's a lot of negotiating that goes back and forth until they finally sign their agreements, and then a right-wing government will be established, will be sworn into office here in Israel. So the Otzma Yehudit party, in their agreement, they will receive the position of Minister of National Security, which is the Public Security Ministry, with expanded powers, actually, I think, which is different than the previous times past, and that will be held by Itamar Ben Gvir, which is the party leader. In addition, the Otzma Yehudit party will also receive the Ministry of the Negev and the Galilee and the National Resilience Portfolio, which will be responsible for the neighborhoods, the Minister of Heritage, the Deputy Minister of the Economy, and the chairmanship of the Public Security Ministry. I know this is probably a little bit unfamiliar to all you guys, but they're receiving quite a few ministries going to happen in Netanyahu's government. A big piece. It's a big step for them to join Netanyahu's government here. They're going to play a big part in that. So they received a lot of things in this negotiation. Also, there are, just to start with, a lot of ministries in the actual government, a lot of roles to be filled, and roles for these politicians to take in Netanyahu's next government. So the biggest one, though, is Itamar Ben Gvir's the Public Security Ministry, which he was very adamant about receiving, and was kind of his bargaining chip, saying, we have to, this is, my first preference. This is what we want in order to join, the stipulation to join Netanyahu in his next government. So they received that, which is great, and hopefully we'll be able to see some good things come from that with Itamar Ben Gvir as the public security minister. Also, as a part of their agreement, a large-scale National Guard will be established, which is supposed to help return governance to the streets of Israel. What we saw last year during the 11-day conflict with Gaza. There's a lot of disturbances in the mixed cities where there were Arab neighborhoods and Jewish neighborhoods. There were a lot of riots, things like that. Arabs going around looting and burning different places, Jewish businesses, Jewish apartment buildings, all that kind of stuff. We saw a lot of that. So Itamar Ben Gvir, that's part of his agreement with Netanyahu as well, that they will form a national guard. Itamar Ben Gvir said in a statement in response to them signing the deal, he said, quote, "We took an important step tonight to establish a full right-wing government, the return of security to the streets, looking after the Negev and the Galilee, and the national resilience for senior citizens and youth centers, as well as for heritage sites in Israel. I am happy that the agreement on the ministries that Otzma Yehudit will receive will allow us to realize our election promises for the security and strengthening of the Negev, the Galilee, and the periphery." And that was his quote after he signed the agreement with Netanyahu. So that's good. That's moving forward towards a full-on right-wing government, right-wing coalition that Netanyahu can form. Yesterday, actually Sunday, excuse me. Netanyahu met with Smotrich, who is the head of the religious Zionism party. Basically, the Otzma Yehudit, which is Itamar Ben Gvir, religious Zionism, and the Noam party, where all three ran together in a technical bloc for this last election. They ran together under the name Religious Zionism Party, and so they received the seats that they got in the election, and just actually last week they officially split back into their individual parties that they were before, and they are each conducting their own negotiations with Likud, with Netanyahu, to join his government. So Netanyahu and Smotrich held actually a 3-hour meeting yesterday to discuss the negotiations and forming a government together. Also, their negotiating teams met together as well. And actually, in an official statement by Likud, things seem to be looking up in these meetings. They seem to be they seem to be getting somewhere in making a deal and negotiating a deal to join the government. The official statement by Likud after the meeting said, "The meeting was held in good atmosphere and progress was made on all topics. The party will meet again tomorrow with the goal of establishing a right-wing government as soon as possible." And that would be, they're meeting again today. So hopefully within the next day or two, we'll hear of, they will be signing, maybe even today, signing an agreement with Likud to join Netanyahu's government, and then we have the other right-wing parties to follow, that they will also sign agreements, and negotiations will go quickly with that, and we will be able to very, very soon, the new government will be sworn into office here in Israel. Smotrich, during his meeting, he expressed a lot of optimism that a right-wing government would be established in the coming days. This is actually yesterday. He said, "We are, God willing, after a clear victory for the right in the election campaign and in the midst of coalition negotiations. And I can tell you with full confidence, with God's help, a real right-wing government will be formed in the coming days. There is significant progress in the negotiations. We have shown goodwill and a great deal of understanding so that we can form a government soon, and I estimate that we are nearing the completion of this important task." So according to Smotrich, he is estimating that this will happen soon, very soon. All that is to say is that, yeah, hopefully something will happen very, very soon, because Israel needs a strong government to come into office and to take care of business, and what's all the different things that are happening in Israel with security and with the terrorist attacks and the economy, and a lot of different things need addressing, and hopefully a strong right-wing government will be able to help solve some of those issues. Also, the Noam party, which was part of the technical bloc of religious Zionism that ran with Smotrich and Ben Gvir, they also signed a coalition agreement last night with Likud. And so they're signing the agreement to join Netanyahu's government. I think technically, because they're the small part of the technical bloc, they only have like one seat, so they're going to get one position in one member of Knesset for their party. The other parties, Smotrich and Ben Gvir, have the majority of the seats because they're the larger parties in that technical bloc that they ran into for the elections that were just 2 weeks ago. All right, guys, we're going to talk about what's happening in Qatar with the World Cup and why the Palestinians might not be happy about that. But first, I want to tell you about our massive sale that we're running right now in our online store for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You can get all of our Israel-related products for up to 80% off. Things like books, music, our T-shirts, our hats. Our Vine jewelry line, which is very, very popular, is 40% off right now. I would encourage you to go check it out, because those very, very popular, which means they're selling out very quickly. So if you want to get your hands on discounted Vine jewelry line, our earrings, necklaces, bracelets, all those things, I would suggest you go check that out right now. Also, all our other products, our Israel Guys merch, things like that. And we have music. We have photo books. Land of Israel, beautiful photo books there as well. Go check them out. We have up to 80% off sales there. So save now while you can for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Click the link in the description below, or you could click up here to go start saving on our Israel-related products on our store today. So the World Cup is currently going on in Qatar, and while the host country of Qatar is being criticized for a lot of things in the media right now, we're not going to talk about that, but the Palestinians seem to have their own bone to pick with Qatar. Why would that be? Because I've seen several things in the news recently where even Israelis and Israeli journalists that have gone to the games there in Qatar and trying to interview fans there have been rudely pushed away and saying, you're not welcome here. We don't want you here. Go home, you Israelis. So that's kind of a little bit of a hostile environment for Israelis there at the games in Qatar. And Qatar hasn't been necessarily the most friendly towards Israel. But a Palestinian writer wrote this week and said, quote, hosting the World Cup Qatar cost the Gulf states $220 to $240 billion. Housing projects for 2 million Palestinians in the Palestinian territories and 2 additional power plants would cost $10 billion, end quote. So what he's saying here is that they're spending $240 billion on the World Cup games there in Qatar. And just $10 billion would cover the housing projects cost for 2 million Palestinians in the quote-unquote Palestinian territories. And of course, this is all a sympathy plea from the Palestinians. We've seen this many, many times before, to get money from other nations around the world so that they can kill more Jews in their attempt to rid the entire land of the nation of Israel. Yes, the Palestinians want to rid the entire land of the nation of Israel of all the Jews. They want them kicked out, and they want to take over this entire area of Israel. I guess the question I have for this Palestinian journalist who wrote this is, why isn't your government, the Palestinian Authority, and when I say government, the government that's acting, supposed to be the government of the Palestinian people here in Judea and Samaria, so why isn't this quote-unquote government using the hundreds of millions of dollars that they receive every single year in aid, in monetary aid, for Palestinian housing projects, for the everything that the PA needs to do, the Palestinians that are oppressed, the Palestinians that are suffering, that don't have enough food, all these needs? Why isn't the PA using the money that comes in, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, for these housing projects, for building more electricity plants, for building houses for those who don't have houses? All these issues that are happening in the Palestinian Authority, why aren't these being taken care of? And I don't know if you guys know, but since 1994, I was just looking it up, the Palestinians have received over $5 billion from the U.S. alone. That's just from the U.S. They've received over $5 billion in aid, probably more than that now. But that's not including the European Union. That's not including the UN and all these other governmental organizations around the world, from the U.K., different places, even Qatar. These Arab states are sending aid to the Palestinian Authority as well. So that's a lot more money. And why isn't that money being going to help the Palestinians that are actually in need, instead of lining the pockets of the Palestinian politicians, or even their second priority is to pay terrorists and pay those terrorists that go out to murder Jews, instead of helping the people that are actually in need, their own people that need help here in Judea and Samaria, in these Arab towns and villages. So that's something that I thought was rather interesting in connection with what's happening with the Qatar and the World Cup happening there as well. And the Palestinians trying to get more sympathy, more world sympathy for their cause, which is to kill Jews and rid the entire land of the nation of Israel, rid them of the Jews. And along these same lines, I actually want to play a video here in a second. Really eye-opening video that shows the true intent of the Palestinians with regards to the state of Israel. So just last week on November 19th, the Auda TV, which is a Palestinian TV network, aired a ceremony held by the Al-Quds Open University in the city of Ramallah, which is here in Judea and Samaria, and they were commemorating the 18th anniversary of Yassar Arafat's death. And at this ceremony, one of the MCs praised Fatah, which is the political and military arm of the Palestinian Authority, and all the related Palestinian factions that have fought against the Jews. This MC said, "O brigades of Abu Ammar," which is Yassar Arafat, "tell them with bullets, not words, that Jerusalem is Arab alone." He said, tell them with bullets, not words, that Jerusalem is Arab alone. Take a look. Also at this same event, Hussein Hamal, which is the Fatah spokesperson, also serves as the director of the Ramallah Al-Bira branch of Al-Quds University, where this event was held. He spoke at the ceremony and he praised the Palestinian martyrs and prisoners, commemorating their memory. My question is how can someone commemorate and praise the memory of someone who murdered other people just to murder other people in an act of terror? Like, this is ridiculous. This is the spokesperson of Fatah, which is connected to the PA, the PA's political party here, saying that they're commemorating martyrs, they're commemorating the prisoners, those who fought against, those who murdered Jews here in the land of Israel, saying that their memories should be blessed, their memory is always going to be with them. Horrible stuff, honoring killers, and this is what's happening. Tell them with bullets, not words. We're going to stop saying, maybe talking about the peace. We're going to start continuing to use bullets and violence to obtain the means to our end, which is to take over the entire land of Israel. Guys, if you don't know this stuff, the PA, they say a lot of times it's great things in English, and they say all the right things when they're talking to American politicians, when they're talking to world leaders. They say a lot of the correct things in regards to the peace process here in Israel. But when you go to their actual events here in Judea and Samaria, when you go to when the Mahmoud Abbas is making speeches in Arabic, what they're saying is completely different, and hopefully it's going to change the way people perceive the Palestinian Authority and these terrorist groups that are operating here in Judea and Samaria. All right, guys, we got to wrap up here, but I came across a heartwarming story that happened here in Israel that I thought I would share with you guys. Really amazing story here in Israel just last week. This story came from Arut Sheva. So a volunteer emergency first responder in Jerusalem, who is 40 weeks pregnant herself, answered a call to help deliver another baby. Rachel Feld, who has been a volunteer EMT with United Hatzalah for just over a year, received an emergency notification from the organization's dispatch and command center, notifying her that she was in close proximity to a medical emergency. Now, Rachel has 3 young children at home, and she's 40 weeks pregnant at the time. She knew that she would be responding to she shouldn't be responding to a lot of the medical emergencies that were happening in the area because she's about to give birth. But she said when she saw that it was a woman in active labor, she knew that she had to go and help her out. So Rachel quickly got on her vest, headed to her car, drove to the address where the woman in active labor was in need of assistance. Rachel said, "I was one of the first responders at the scene, and the woman in labor was so relieved to see me." She said, "I'm so glad that another mother is here to help me. It was a great feeling, and I knew that I made the correct decision in responding to this medical emergency." So amazing story. This lady who was 40 weeks pregnant herself goes and helps out this lady who called for help, is delivering a baby. Rachel, together with another EMT from United Hatzalah, helped, assisted the woman through a very smooth labor. Thank God everything went completely fine. Rachel said, "I am thankful to say that the birth was pretty smooth, and the woman's 6th child, and everything went smoothly, and the woman gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Both the mother and daughter are healthy, and both parents were elated. The best moment for me was simply to see how relieved the woman was that another mother was present with her, helping her through the process. She asked me to go with her in the ambulance just to have me there to comfort her. It was really touching for me." So there you go, guys. Incredible story that happened here in Israel, and let me tell you, things like this happen all the time with the emergency services and just people being good neighbors and people going to help other people. The mothers here in Israel are an amazing group of women. she's about to give birth herself, and she goes and helps this other lady and assist in the birth of her 6th child for their family. So absolutely incredible. We're thankful that everything went smoothly. There were no complications, and that the baby and the family seem to be doing well. Guys, that's it for today. Make sure and check out our huge Black Friday sales that are on our online store, shop.theisraelguys.com. Click the link in the description below to save up to 80% on our Israel-related products. In the meantime, let us know what you think in the comments. Tune out the fake news and tune in to what is actually happening in the land of Israel. We'll be back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.